All right, so I'll be getting into tube testing soon. But yeah, will I use my tube tester? Sure. But it's not going to be the end-all be-all test. The amplifier itself will be that. But here's something interesting. So it looks like someone was in here after all. They only did the stuff under the doghouse and only was barely necessary. Didn't really use the best parts. Left a bunch of things out of tolerance. Now granted, these old Atoms are probably about 20 years old. So maybe things were a little tighter back then. But guy didn't really do a good job. All he did was a clip and jab. Oh, stab it and jab it. And that's about it. This board should be removed. It should be completely cleaned. All the eyelets should have all the old flux removed, all the old contaminants, so you can make perfect joints. You don't want to introduce any contaminants into those solder joints. Look at the contrast there. What else? Oh yeah, so the tech who was in here, you could tell he took these things out when they were hot, and he laid this down on maybe a little piece of rubber matting that was on his desktop or bench. But I'll get that off. These are the original 606 GC short bottle GEs. We'll see if they're still good. And take it from there. Bye-bye. All right, let's just get real. I got curious and I couldn't get my hands off of it. So, again, am I going to correct the title to reflect second service ever? Maybe. Not really. So, we have some very noisy pots. Just put it here, there. That's the normal channel. Is that a broken solder joint at the grounding plate? We have a slightly microphonic 12AX7, but not that bad. Okay, let's get that channel out of there. And as we speak, the power tubes are about 4 milliamps apart. Show you that in a moment. Some dirty pots. Hopefully not damaged from impact. But this is not uncommon. Slight hum from the power amp remaining with the volumes off. I will check for ripple. We're currently standing at 120 volts there. Stop trying to look at me. Drawing about 21 and 24 amps of current, milliamps of current through these old GE short bottle 6L6 GCs, plate voltage being equal. If I remember correctly, the schematic calls for about 460 plate volts DC on these old plates here. Or is it 440? I'm conflating some schematics. Let me drop this down to 110. So if we lived in a day and age where the grid was giving us 110, and then we're seeing a precipitous drop in both measurements, I'm going to bring it back up to 120. This is why I always bias at 120. Though I should probably start at 125 around summertime. Want to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room if you like to keep the tubes running a bit warm. So power tubes are slightly microphonic. Slightly. Dirty tube sockets, loose female receptacles in the old tube sockets could be at play here. Receptacles. Almost said something very bad. A lot of the basic reasons why you service amps or maintain them in the first place could be the culprit for the noisy control panel here. This is why we typically service our amps on a routine basis. That said, these are old tubes. This is an old amp. It's never been serviced on the inside of chassis. You'll see that later. But I do have to run a correction because I didn't really see what I was looking at prior. I was looking for this, but, you know, being in the cab, you're not going to see it. Schumacher transformer with a code 606443. That's the 43rd week of 1964. This choke here, 606513. Schumacher choke, 1965, 13th week. 6064. Once again, Schumacher, 36th week of what? 1964. And finally, 606513, 13th week of 1965. Brought to you by the old Schumacher Transformer Company. One of my favorites. So a lot of good old 1964 surplus iron here. I like it. And then you can see here around the power tubes, the discoloration of the chassis due to heat. Was there an issue? Not really. Just decades and decades and decades of sustained high heat use, of use with rather high temperatures being an instigating factor. So this is what we're looking at on the bottom end. I can flip her over and show you the top side real quick. Actually, you know what? Let's see what kind of ripple we're getting all of these old caps here. And we are hands-free, so a certain someone might be complaining. Let's see what kind of test leads I have available for that. I typically use red because I'll forget. Sometimes I'll forget it's there. So I use red test leads for grounds in some situations. I said some, not all. Let's see if I could free you up. This won't be one of those situations because I'll be poking about with the actual red probe. Sorry, this is a little unorganized as this is impromptu. Did not really have time allocated to this today, but curiosity has gotten the better of me, so you're going to be here when it happens, right? Now let's get this probe sorted out. Normally I would have this in a proper chassis stand, all the cables organized, so I don't want to hear it. I'll switch over to AC voltage. And do we need that many digits? No, but it's kind of nice. So let's see what we're going to get out of the first stage. Not bad. This is the reservoir cap, the two atoms in series. Let's check out the phase inverter node. Not the worst I've seen. And the preamp. Yeah. Probably within tolerance for these old guitar amps, but I like it a little bit less ripply. believe it or not. So that will be it for today. Or actually, for you guys today. I'm going to continue on and post some stuff for you later. And I hope this finds you well. Bye-bye.